but a three for Payton.
Off the nice pass from Hakeem, talking to the Dream before the game, Marv. The fast ended for him today. He lost about 5 pounds during the course of the month of Ramadan, and he got to eat today for the first time. He's feeling great.
That was Michael Jordan's first shot attempt, and here is Grant Hill unleashing his first. It's the East 4, the West 3.
That's a tough matchup for Shawn Kemp, having to try to guard Grant Hill out of the floor. You'd rather see Grant take that jump shot because he's about the best in the league at beating you off the dribble.
Hakeem with the good forearm up high.
And a foul is called. Hill Oaks with the call as you take a look back at the pass from Hakeem.
Hakeem is so talented, Marv. He's able to step out and play that high post going up against the much taller Dikembe Mutombo.
Jordan fouled by Payton.
Here's that nightmare matchup for Shawn Kemp, trying to watch Grant Hill. Has to give ground, has to back up, but he could at least offer a hand up in his face.
Michael Jordan, who has some very pleasant memories of big games that he's played here in Cleveland, had his career high 69 at the Richfield Coliseum.
And Gary Payton's got to be, what did I do wrong? Last Sunday he had to watch Michael Jordan drill him and others for 45, and here he has to guard him again in all-star competition.
Michael, at practice yesterday, told me that he's a little bit more relaxed this year. Last year, after the 2-year layoff, he came out so focused, so intense. He's going to enjoy himself a little bit more. With all the festivities, there's been a smile on Michael's face all weekend.
Hakeem Olajuwon has tied the game at 5. Hakeem Olajuwon, one of 3 Houston Rocket All-Stars, but Clyde Drexler, Charles Barkley sitting out because of injury. Jordan trying to twist that one home. Here comes Payton. The look away to Stockton. Yes. And the West leads 7-5.
Now, John's been on the receiving end of a couple of passes earlier in the game when it first started. He was in the post, of course. Got a nice pass from Shawn Kemp, and there, a good feed from Payton.
But John's just not used to playing with a lot of guys who handle the ball in the up and down game.
What a tumble! Consecutively, another opportunity.
Oh, almost a hat trick.
The game tied at 7.
They held Karl Malone. Karl Malone, who had been into it verbally from the introductions today with Scottie Pippen. Karl got out in transition, and Scottie just reached out and grabbed him, held him. Obvious foul.
Foul was called on Jordan. That is his first. And here's Kemp from long range. A 3 for Shawn Kemp, who has been struggling recently, but he's been hitting the 3. He's been looking for the 3 more frequently this season. Went through the hands of Mutombo.
Beautiful passing by Kenny. I think that's one of the great things about the All-Star game, Marv, is the creativity that you see, not only in shooting, but in the ball movement as well.
3.5 minutes gone by in the first quarter. That was intended for Jordan. Marv Albert with Matt Dukas and Bill Walton will be joined later on the sidelines by Ahmad Rashad and Jim Gray. Hill fronting Kemp. Call for the foul, a push on Grant Hill of the Detroit Pistons.
Marv, you talked with Matt earlier about the advantages for the East. It looks like the East has the 6-7 range dominance with Jordan and Pippen, Grant Hill and Penny, but the West has the 6'10 to 6'11 range dominance with Kemp and Karl Malone, Christian Laettner, and of course the new guys on the bench with Kevin Garnett.
Alley-oop with his teammate Kemp. And it did not work.
Well, we've seen 2 alley-oopers so far. Nobody can get a hand on them yet. They're going to have to adjust their passes. The problem the East is having right now, they really don't know who the primary ball handler is. Everybody's taking their turn because Grant Hill has it. He's used to handling. Penny Hardaway gets the jumper there. He's used to handling for Orlando. Of course, Pippen for Chicago.
It is the West 10 and the East 9. And Kemp fires one up. Well, Karl Malone on the rebound. Obviously, Shawn Kemp following the philosophy that you laid out in our opening remarks.
Shoot every time. The coach is not going to yank you for getting over-aggressive on the offensive end.
Oh, Hill stepped out of bounds. He backed up, trying to handle that pass.
On the West line, number 2, Mitch Richmond.
Scottie Pippen in transition is going to get to the hoop at the last minute, realizes that everybody else has stopped waiting for the whistle. He just threw it up, and then the alley-oop a little bit too far. Now, Shawn Kemp can get in the air with anybody. If you overthrow him, it's a little hard.
Hakeem Olajuwon showing the outside touch. He's hit his first 2 shots. The West with a 14-9 lead. Mitch Richmond of the Sacramento Kings, MVP of the All-Star game 2 years ago, has come on, replacing John Stockton. Here's Jordan, rebounded by Malone. So Michael missing on his first 3-shot attempts. Payton directing traffic, gives it up to Richmond for 3. Yes. Well, off the bench, Mitch Richmond, who's averaging 25 a game, hitting on his first shot. Payton with the steal.
What a great try by Jordan. He looked sidelined, tried to fake out Payton. Payton didn't bite.
And Jordan with the rebound. He has Hill ahead of the field. You can enter that one in the slam dunk contest. 24 hours a bit late.
Grant, just getting started really in his all-star career, has learned quickly, don't get back on defense.
These are valuable lessons that you have been passing on, Bill.
I learned the hard way, Marv.
Well, Kemp with a look-away pass, broke it up. And now Payton with the ball fake. Finds Malone. 5:45 remaining, first quarter. It's the West 17, the East 11. And the ball back to the West. Timeout has been called. Gary Payton certainly enjoying his new teammates, leading the break, pitching out to his left to Mitch Richmond. And Richmond, who just came off the bench, able to drill the 3. And at the other end, the breakaway for Grant Hill of the Pistons. His 3rd All-Star selection in his 3 years, 3 for 3, and he does it with the reverse. We'll be back at the Gunk in Cleveland in a moment. Well, on this 50th anniversary celebration season of the NBA, we flash back to the '62 All-Star game in St. Louis, and Philadelphia's Wilt Chamberlain lit up the West squad for 42 points, an All-Star record. Wilt also with 24 rebounds in the game. The West won it anyway, 150 to 130. There is 13-time NBA All-Star Wilt Chamberlain. Let's go to Ahmad.
All right, thanks, Bob. I'm here with Wilt Chamberlain, one of the greatest players to ever play the game, but I guess I could say that about 50 times, but when I'm talking about you, big fella, a little bit more enthusiasm.
Well, I appreciate that. It's nice still to be here, but I want to say one thing. You know, they keep talking about all of us being great and so on and so forth, but our chances would have never came if it wasn't for the originators of the NBA, and we got to say thank you to them and the NBA and the continuance of what they're doing, because they're giving us all a chance to show our stuff and make a lot of money and have a lot of fun in life.
But one of the great things I saw yesterday was that I saw you and Michael Jordan talking. Now, I didn't know that you guys had never met.
Never met.
What was going on in that conversation?
Well, I just went over to say hello to him, and I was like everybody else. I'm in all. You understand? So I went over to say hello and said that we got to get together and talk sometime, which he wanted to do, and it was nice. I mean, most people would have thought that we had met, but no, I don't play golf. You understand? And he doesn't play volleyball. So, but you know, here we are now.
42 points you scored in '62. Anybody going to top that?
I don't think so today. If so, they have to get 27 rebounds too. I don't know.
Oh, you just, Marv, you see he threw that in. 42 and 27. Back to you, Marv.
All right, thanks, Ahmad. Terrell Brandon of the Cavaliers has checked in for the first time and hit his first shot attempt, and off the foul call. We have just under 5 minutes remaining in this first quarter, and the West up by the count of 19-13. Latrell Sprewell of the Warriors, who just came on, was called for that foul.
You know, Wilt not only remembers the stats of every All-Star game that he played in, he remembers the stats of every game he played in, and all of his teammates combined. You know, Wilt was hinting this week that he might be able to play, if asked, 5 to 10 minutes at 60 years of age. He does that about every 5 years.
Most of the top 50 players who've been together all weekend, they've been approaching guys like Kevin McHale, now running the Timberwolves. And he said, I can play 10 minutes a game, Kevin. Bring me back.
Well, the West off that drive by Payton, now leading by the score of 21 to 13. Chris Webber of the Washington Bullets, who just came on, missing that shot. Jordan hit the floor. So the East now with Webber able to hit. Webber up front with Baker and Brand. Brandon, Hardaway, and Jordan. This is Tom Gugliotta of the Minnesota Timberwolves shooting over Vin Baker. Jordan with a pretty pass, and then Weber lost it.
Chris will learn quickly to take that one all the way.
This is Gary Payton's 4th All-Star game, and every one of them, he really loves to play in these games and generally gets everybody involved. That time he saw the opening all by himself, but he really plays this game to try to do as well as he can, try to help the team win, try to get everybody involved.
Eddie Jones of the Los Angeles Lakers in for the first time. Nice move by Gugliotta. Tom Gugliotta, 5th year out of North Carolina State. A member of those vastly improved Minnesota Timberwolves, who now have 2 All-Stars in Gugliotta and 20-year-old Kevin Garnett. Flip Sanders, the coach of the Timberwolves, said, now there's pressure on me. I have 2 All-Stars.
Well, you watch the T-Wolves, it's a joy. The style that they play, the enthusiasm, the electricity in the crowd in Minnesota. It's all come together.
You know, his wife was the one putting pressure on him, mentioning that he had 2 All-Stars. He said, hey, how do you think they became All-Stars? Is his coaching. But he is absolutely giddy at the prospects of Kevin Garnett, at the potential that he has, the leadership, the maturity at just 20.
Plus young Stephon Marbury, who, like Garnett, is a prodigy. Just unbelievable talent.
Mark, in talking to all the guys who were here for the first time, when you come out of high school and then on to college, some of the guys don't even go to college anymore, but they all think that they're just going to step right in and be here initially. And then it's a humbling experience when it doesn't happen the very first time. And then they realize, after watching Jordan and Pippen and all the all-time guys, how hard you have to work. Then they get back to it. And you have to give all the credit in the world to Gugliotta and Leitner and these guys who have come really from the depths now to the peak of the mountain.
You mentioned the jump from high school in the case of a Garnett or a Kobe Bryant of the LA Lakers, who won the slam dunk competition last night. But in the case of Garnett and Marbury and Bryant, not only do they have magnificent skills, but they are very mature young men, and that's the major difference.
And coachable, and like to play, and want to learn, and want to play at both ends of the floor. They have learned from some of the great players like Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, that you got to play defense as well.
Gugliotta with the rebound. Tom Gugliotta with a second field and a steal. Gugliotta dishes it out. Garnett could not put it down. The West leading 26-17. Pass from Tim Hardaway picked off. Here comes Eddie Jones behind the back for Latrell Sprewell.
Wow, now, you know, remember Chris Webber and Sprewell, very tight friends at Golden State. I think he let him get in there.
Hardaway and Brandon now play in the backcourt. Here's Brandon. And the crowd here in Cleveland loves it. Terrell Brandon in his 2nd straight All-Star appearance, averaging 20 points, 6 assists for the Cavaliers. Sprewell drills it. So the West up 31-19. That's a 3 for Latrell Sprewell.
The game really heating up offensively. Mark, back to your point about the young guys and the maturity. Mark, my experience has been that the better the player, the more he wants discipline in his program. And that's what type of skill, that's what kind of maturity these young players have exhibited at this All-Star game.
Garnett, played by Weber. Garnett looking for the step, pulled it back. Rebounded by Weber.
Not a lot of shot blockers out there. Time to get all the way to Chris Webber's really having trouble getting his shoot time.
And Vin Baker rebounds when a foul is called. And a timeout is taken.
Well, the #1 thief in the NBA, Eddie Jones, showing you why. Right in the passing lane, picking off an easy one there. Handling the ball in the middle of the break. Fancy behind the back pass, as Eddie Jones has really developed his all-around game. And Latrell Sprewell can really do this. Take it to the hole.
Well, always a host of notables at the NBA All-Star Game. That's the capacity crowd. Heavyweight champion Evander Holyfield. Olympic double gold medalist Michael Johnson. And another gold medalist, Bill Murray, in his own mind. And we go to Jim Gray.
All right, thank you very much, Marv. I'm joined by Charles Barkley. He's in his 11th All-Star game, second one he's had to miss, and he's got David Robinson Jr. here on the bench. Daddy David sitting behind us. He also heard from San Antonio. Charles, how difficult to sit out an All-Star game, and when will you be back?
I'm ready to go Tuesday. I'm looking forward to going back to my team. We've been struggling. We got to get back on track. But, you know, this has been the most fun All-Star weekend I've had since my first game. Getting a chance to hang out with those other 50 players. It was one of the most emotional times of my life. And this has been a perfect weekend.
You really were almost like a little kid. You had your book and you had all of them sign it, didn't you?
Well, I think for two reasons. Number one, the black guys took all the chances and made it possible for us guys to have to flourish the way we are today. And all the other guys total, they brought the NBA to where it is today. And we owe them a great deal of gratitude and respect.
Charles, do you begin to cherish these moments just a little bit more when it gets put into a historic perspective like it has this weekend?
I think a little bit, but also I think as you get down to the end of your career and you realize you're not going to play in that many more All-Star games or you're close to the end of it, you know, it becomes more significant.
Now, the West has a big lead right now. It doesn't seem as though they're missing your talents.
Well, I think, you know, I don't show up my game until the fourth quarter, so the first 3 quarters, they won't miss me.
All right. Congratulations, Charles. We look forward to seeing you in the next couple of weeks.
Thank you.
Marv?
All right, thank you, Jim. Some of you may have seen Meet the Press earlier today here on NBC. Among Tim Russ's guests, Charles Barkley. NBA Deputy Commissioner Russ Granick had contacted Charles about this last week, and Barkley said to Russ, finally, I'll be talking to my audience. And the Rockets will certainly welcome Charles back. Clyde Drexler will be out for a while, though, but Barkley, as you heard, will be back Tuesday. Houston has lost 6 straight games. The West 34 and the East 21 with a half-minute left in this first quarter. Here's Glenn Rice, who has been on a tear for the Charlotte Hornets. And back comes Mitch Richmond. Eddie Jones. That was intended for Kevin Garnett. We're down to 23 seconds in the quarter. Tim Hardaway has had a sensational season for Pat Riley and the surprising Miami Heat. Walking it up, working the clock down. Down to 10 seconds in this first quarter. Brandon eluding Sprewell, blocked by Jones. And the East will inbound with 2 3/10 seconds remaining in the quarter.
Eddie Jones defensively, that's the same job he did on Jordan to close out the first half of the season in L.A.
Weber's pass picked off. And Gugliotta finds. So that is the end of the first quarter. The West 14 of 26 from the field. The East only 9 of